What's going on, Packers Nation? As always, I am your host, Taylor Bretl, keeping you up to date on the latest news on the green and gold Green Bay Packers. Still riding high off the victory on Sunday, but lots to get into from that game and lots to look forward to with Minnesota, the upcoming opponent on Sunday for Green Bay. Want to start off talking about the running back situation. There is a lot of mix-up there, some positive, some negative, and just some news overall. Got to start off with Josh Jacobs. Man, the list I have today is long for this running back room because it could look super different or it could look traditional. Lots of question marks on Jacobs' injury and how serious it is. This is per Adam Schefter. He tweeted this out on Monday. He said, Matt LaFleur told reporters running back Josh Jacobs, in quotes, potentially could be available to play Sunday versus the Vikings despite his knee contusion that he is battling. But Green Bay has no plans to place Jacobs on the IR. That is very, very, very good news for Matt LaFleur, good news for Josh Jacobs, good news for anyone in the Packers organization. When Jacobs went down, a little bit scary, one of those you don't know. Didn't look too bad, but then he didn't return for the rest of the game. And you're like, oh gosh, this is a little bit more serious than we may have thought. Then you look at, does he have to get surgery? And then there's all these big talks before all the tests happen on Monday. And to land on day to day, you could call it week to week. It was listed as day to day for Jacobs. That is a big sigh of relief. I mean, that is phenomenal news compared to what it could have been with this Packers team already battling too many injuries, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But if we're talking about Josh Jacobs, if he does not play, we got to talk about the guy stepping up, filling in the shoes, who did it very well to get that win against the New York Giants in Emanuel Wilson. Wilson's the guy. He's the guy Green Bay is going to be rolling with. Originally, actually not drafted, I shouldn't say. He was signed to the Denver Broncos. He was undrafted in 2023, signed with the Broncos, short stint there, signed with the Packers. He's been wearing green and gold for his career since that point on. Very familiar face for Green Bay, and it's nice to see Wilson really be able to step up in that role. He's played the backup role for many, many years, and it's really nice to see him step up. You look at this season, 52 carries for 220 yards in that game against the Giants. He notched his first touchdown of the season and even caught that big 2-point conversion to put the Packers up by 7 points on what would be the final score of 27-20. He also can catch the football a little bit, 11 receptions for 69 yards this season, which is really nice to see. Josh Jacobs catches the football a little bit as well, not known for it, but he's not bad at it. The Packers like to involve him in the passing game as well. So it's nice that if Jacobs doesn't play, his replacement, great on the ground and can also catch passes in a similar fashion. Next guy in this running back room, Marshon Lloyd, a name that has been around for a while. When will he get on the football field? Out of USC, he's been battling injury after injury. Seems good to go. Another injury. Currently hurt with the Packers. But hey, maybe some positive news on him. On Monday, Matt LaFleur did not rule out the Packers opening up the 21-day practice window for Marshon Lloyd this week. I know I'm talking about the running backs, but he also mentioned Jaden Reed in that same conversation. But focusing in on Lloyd, something to note. The return to practice wouldn't necessarily mean that he's like immediately ready for game action. It says players coming off the injured reserve get that 3-week practice window, as LaFleur said, in those 21 days to work with the team while not counting against the official 53-man roster. So, great news. Lloyd is one of those guys, when he gets hurt, no idea the time frame. Seems like it's week to week. Then it's like, oh gosh, could it be the whole season? This is some positive news. Obviously, it won't be an impact right away, and it won't be an impact while Jacobs is out, as he's expected to be out for just the Vikings game if he even is ruled out. But it's nice to see the health side coming back for the Green Bay Packers, especially in that running back room. Fourth running back we got to talk about. We have to talk about Brooks. I mean, what a performance for him. Maybe he's not the guy that gets the touches, but he's the guy that makes the impactful blocks. Highlighting that third and long play that set up that 32-yard completion to Savion Williams in that game-winning drive for the Green Bay Packers. I believe it was a 3rd and 11. Watch that play back after you watch this episode and look at Brooks and his blocking, holding his ground the whole time, allowing Jordan Love to let that play develop, direct traffic, and throw a perfect pass to the rookie Savion Williams. That was phenomenal blocking. It gets overlooked because you're just wowed by the pass, you're wowed by the reception, and you're wowed by the game-winning drive. But go back, look at that blocking. It was incredible. This is especially important when you look at the offensive line, rather beat up, hasn't played great. Tucker Kraft's out. That's a guy not part of the O-line, but impactful when blocking. It's nice to see Brooks, obviously smaller than an O-lineman, smaller than Tucker Kraft as he's a running back, but he has been solid. If he's not with Green Bay in later years, he should not have much trouble finding a home with a new team. His blocking ability is so strong. But we got to get into the defensive side, talk about the offense a lot. And we got to talk about in that game, Micah Parsons, player of the game in the win over the Giants, in my personal opinion. Didn't touch on him too much. I should have credited him more in the episode recapping the win, but there was so much to get into with that, especially with those injuries to Love, who's good, and Jacobs, who's appearing to trend in the right direction. But Micah Parsons, listen to this stat line that he finished with in this game. 6 tackles, one of them solo, 1.5 sacks, 3 quarterback hits, and that forced fumble on the final play of the game to seal it for the Green Bay Packers. They do not win this game if Parsons does not have a performance like this. And that forced fumble was the cherry on top. Would Winston complete that pass for a touchdown and they get the extra point to tie it? Who knows? We don't have to think about that. Parsons was the one in on the quarterback to cause the forced fumble. His first forced fumble caused on the season. He now has 8 sacks through 10 games so far this season. That puts him on pace for, I believe it averaged out to like 13.6 he's on pace for. So he's on pace for over 13 sacks. This is exactly what we wanted to see from Micah Parsons. We knew what he's done with the Dallas Cowboys. We've seen him go against the Green Bay Packers in the wrong colors, you can call it, in that blue and white. Now he's in green and gold, and he is so good for this Green Bay Packers defense. I know I sound very obvious, but hey, he's very good for this Packers defense. It's nice it's working out. He seems comfortable wearing green and gold, playing under Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator for the Packers, and this defense just continues to look strong every week. Obviously, 20 points to an injured Giants team, maybe a little bit of things to fix there, but hey, held them to 20, game-winning play, Packers get the win, and that is what is most important. Moving on to our next point, Packers and the NFC North. They sit in second place in the NFC North. The Chicago Bears are in first at 7-3. They're on a 5-game winning streak, but they are just 1-2 in the division. You go below the Packers, the Lions are 6-4. They lost to the Eagles on Sunday Night Football. They're also 1-2 in the division. And then you go to the Minnesota Vikings, who have lost their last 2 games, but they are 2-1 in the division. Very odd standings for the NFC North. It is truly odd to look at how everything's played out, but it shows how open the division is. I believe I looked at some odds. Obviously, it's projecting, and the odds change every week based on the results, but the Packers and Lions are pretty neck and neck in odds to win that division. The Bears actually only have the 3rd best odds despite being in first place at 7-3, but I think a big reason of that is I believe 6 of those 7 wins are by 1 score, a lot of them 4th quarter comebacks. But you can't discredit it. If you're winning football games, you're winning football games. If you're 7-3, you're 7-3. There's no asterisk near that. You got to give them credit for what they are doing. A scary team for Green Bay to play. Has not been too much of that rivalry in the past, but Chicago is the one sitting on top of the division. They're the one sitting on top of the Green Bay Packers the last time the 2 teams faced off. Week 18 last season, a game-winning field goal for Chicago, and you know that felt good if you are a fan of the Bears. If you're a fan of the Bears watching this, I welcome you. I respect you for getting this far in the video to learn more about the Green Bay Packers. Maybe you're looking ahead to that matchup. But all jokes aside, the NFC North is an absolute battle. You look at the Packers' schedule as well. They've just played 1 game in the NFC North, that Week 1 win against the Detroit Lions. 5 of their last 7 games are against the NFC North. The other 2 being in Denver and then at home against Baltimore. But 5 of their last 7 games in division. Woof. It is going to be a stretch and a half for Green Bay. But hey, if you're a good football team, if you're a team that you know can reach the Super Bowl and compete at a high level, you should not be a little nervous for this stretch. You should be looking forward to it, looking to put some W's next to your name. Which gets us into our last point. and the playoff picture of how the Packers currently sit at number 6 in the NFC standings. The NFC is pretty stacked this year. I'll go down the list of all the teams that sit in the playoffs. 7 teams in the playoffs per side. The Packers at that 6th seed. You got the Philadelphia Eagles as the number 1 seed, a team that has beaten Green Bay this season, and the team that most recently beat the Lions on Sunday Night Football. Then behind them, you got the Los Angeles Rams coming off a huge win against the Seattle Seahawks to improve to 8-2 as well. The Chicago Bears, with their 7-3 record, they sit in 3rd. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers leading their division. They are just 6-4, but a division leader. They are in the number 4 spot. You go to the wild cards, the Seattle Seahawks at 7-3 at the 5 seed. Our very own Green Bay Packers at 6-3-1 at that 6th seed. And then the San Francisco 49ers, who always just hang around near the Packers in many, many ways, at 7-4. So that is how the playoff picture is looking. Obviously, it's still early. You play through week 18 for a reason, but definitely interesting to look at and look at how much of a gauntlet that the NFC is. I mean, it's nuts to think out of this NFC North, only one of these teams can win the division. The other 2 will be wild cards. If you noticed on that list that I talked about, no Detroit up there, and in my opinion, Detroit is a very dangerous team, but they've had their struggles early on, but still 6-4, they are just a spot out of the playoffs. They are behind the San Francisco 49ers, who have played one more game because they haven't been on their bye yet, and they are at 7-4. But there'll be lots to monitor throughout the week, lots of updates on Jacobs, see what's up with Lloyd, if he'll truly go into that 3-week window, get some more updates on Jaden Reed, who's in similar talks. But that's all I got for you guys today. I appreciate you tuning in, as always, to another episode of Packers Latest. And as always, signing off with Go Pack Go.